Thanks for the warm introduction. I hope everybody can hear me well. Okay. I guess I'm the last one today, and I did not expect it, people here. So really appreciate all your support, especially as I come all the way from the Netherlands. And we're going to talk today about sniper targeting. So before I start, I just want to know, do we have some power users here? Some LinkedIn power users? Just raise your hands. Who's leveraging LinkedIn for lead generation? Who's actually leveraging LinkedIn to create content? You have people who create content on LinkedIn? Or people who recruit and use LinkedIn to attract candidates? Okay, this will be really great for all of you. I have two left hands, so I hope I can manage to click on the right times. What I actually want to share with you, and I divided it in 3 easy things, and it's all about out-of-the-box strategies and ways on how to search and find your audiences on LinkedIn. So I'm not talking about Sales Navigator searches, I'm talking about search tricks divided in, for example, LinkedIn groups, inbound leads, and some strategies which I leveraged for the past couple of years and which get me each and every time up to more than 70% acceptance rate. And as a bonus, some hacks, some in-mail hacks, and how you can get a 55% reply rate after finding the right audience and outreach these people on LinkedIn. There's no need to make that many notes, as I want to share everything with you afterwards through a QR code. For the ones who do not know me, my name is Stefan. I'm the founder of Expandy, world's leading software for LinkedIn automation, and I bootstrapped my SaaS within 2.5 years up to 7 million in revenue. We mainly did that through LinkedIn outreach, and the best place out there, we created playbooks out of it and heavily distributed them to the audience. I shared this story at Founder 500 last edition in Austin. So for the ones who want to watch that back, I think it's on YouTube, or Nathan put it on YouTube as well. But let's start with some search tricks. And I think for the ones who are quite active on LinkedIn, and some people already raised their hands, it became a bit of a more challenging 1.5 years ago when LinkedIn put, unfortunately, in all these limits, right? So I will share a bit about that and why it's important to do quality searches and sniper targeting. And because if you have less people to outreach, it will become way more important to find the right people, as we have less shots left to approach all these people, especially on LinkedIn. Some spotlight filters, and I see people thinking LinkedIn groups. There are so many LinkedIn groups, but I will tell some tricks about that and how you can leverage it yourself. And for the ones who are using LinkedIn to build out authority, to build out a personal brand, you can attract a lot of inbound leads. And with some tricks, it's quite easy to import all these people into a CSV and follow up on them on LinkedIn or through other channels. But let's start with the 100 weekly limit. LinkedIn is fighting spam. It's their #1 problem, especially as the platform is growing super, super fast. It means that they want to stop people approaching each other, at least people you do not know. So therefore, I think it becomes way more important to only outreach people you know, or at least that's what LinkedIn is aiming for. And of course, it's not possible. We have a lot of workarounds. We can bypass these limits, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. I especially want to focus on sniper targeting. So only tactics on how you can find people with out-of-the-box strategies on LinkedIn to build your audience. LinkedIn groups, I just talked about it. Who's leveraging LinkedIn groups? Are we here, have some people here who are already in LinkedIn groups or use it? Did you know, for example, that if you're part from a LinkedIn group for more than 4 days, you can message these people without making a connection request? So LinkedIn limited amount of connection requests up to 100 a week, which is sort of 20 a day. And if you're part of a group, you can message these people without making a connection request. And it's quite an easy conversation starter. If you go to your basic search bar on LinkedIn, you search by hashtag on a specific topic, and you select the tag groups. It will pop up all the relevant groups related to that specific keyword. And you can make quite an easy introduction. If you're not using it as a connection request, you can send a message, as I just mentioned. And this is an example of how you can make an kind of an intro. Hey, we are part of the same group. Let's exchange IDs, and if you're in for a coffee, just let me know. I will share all these things afterwards as well. So, who's viewed your profile? If you have a paid subscription on LinkedIn, for example, Sales Navigator, it's possible to see who has viewed your profile. I, for example, leverage LinkedIn by producing content consistent each and every day. And I attract, I think in the last 90 days, almost 8,000 profile visitors. With a tool like Expandy, we can easily import all these profile visitors, and you can use that as a lead source or as a starting point to engage with these people. You can do that on LinkedIn. We can export them in a CSV. We're capturing all the email addresses. Will make it quite easy to retarget these people, to follow up on them per email. And I think it's quite interesting because these people already showed interest in you, in your profile. So it's quite easy to engage with them afterwards and refer to that profile visit. This is an example of how you can do that. It's not that special, quite easy. You can personalize that even more if you want that, of course. Sniper targeting. These are my 3 favorite strategies. LinkedIn, it's full of content, right? I just mentioned it. We see our timelines, everybody's posting. But how cool would it be if we can scrape each and every post on LinkedIn? And I'm not talking only about your post, but let's say your competitor's post, and company post, or any post on LinkedIn. And we can import within a split second all the people who like and comment on that specific post. We can capture all the email addresses, and within 2 minutes we can provide you with a CSV file you can use for retargeting, you can use for email outreach through a cool tool like Instantly, for example. Or you can leverage a tool like Expandy to follow up on all these people on LinkedIn. It's quite easy to make an introduction as you can refer towards a specific post. I never ever achieved, and I did it many times over for the past couple of years, a lower acceptance rate by using or leveraging this strategy than 70%. This is actually how it works. You go to the specific post, you copy the URL, you go to a tool like Expandy, you import the URL, and within a couple of minutes, it will pull over all the people who are engaged with that specific post. After that, you can decide what you do and leverage such a tool to follow up on these people per LinkedIn. It's not needed. An example of how you can break through the noise with your messaging, as everybody is approaching each other, some boring, outdated messages, and bring some fun in it, will always help me a lot to get people engaged. And this is an example of how you can do that. You can do that through connection requests to open email, for example, but also through group messaging or event messaging. As also for events, if you're part of an event, it's possible to engage with these people without making a connection request if you're part of that specific event. Sniper targeting, poll voters. We see still a lot of people who are asking questions on LinkedIn and ask people to vote on that. If it's your own poll, it's possible to scrape all the people who vote for your poll. To get engagement, you can use, for example, an engagement pot, which will give you a bit more traction and more people who see your post. And a tool like Expand, you can import all the people based on answers and funnel them based on answers to funnel them further to approach them afterwards. This is how it works, and an example, again, of a funny connection request, which you can leverage in relation towards someone who voted on your poll. Events. LinkedIn is also full of events. Are we joining? Are some people here who are joining LinkedIn events or LinkedIn live sessions? Nobody? Oh, cool. Yeah, you host it yourself, I guess, as well, right? Yeah. If you go to your basic search bar and you search for a specific keyword on LinkedIn and you enter the tab Events afterwards, it pulls out all the relevant events in relation to your keywords, which means that if you decide to attend that event, then you're able to scrape all the people who also decided to join that event. So actually all these people decided to spend their valuable time to join that upcoming event. We can pull over and expand all the people who do that, and we can provide you with all the email addresses and additional information, so you can use it for, again, retargeting, you can use it for email outreach, or you can use it for approaching them on LinkedIn as well. And it works for each and every event. The only requirement is that before you do it, you need to decide to join that event yourself as well. The reason this works so well is that you actually have a lot in common, and these people already decided, based on the topic, to join that specific event. So if you provide something which is a bit similar or related, it's actually quite cool to engage with these people, and you will achieve a very high acceptance rate if you decide to send them a connection request. GIF animations, I think, is by far one of the most interesting approaches I will share today, as most of us are struggling on LinkedIn, especially if we use LinkedIn for outreach, to break through the noise, right? And I did at least 100 active campaigns actually just with messaging, and the rest of them with GIF animations. And each and every time it doubled reply rates, as everybody is sending the same messages, outdated, boring, finding them on Google. And instead of sending that, I will show in a bit some examples. For the ones who have a paid LinkedIn subscription, let's say Sales Navigator, it's possible to send in-mails, right? But it's always a challenge with these credits. You have a couple of credits, and then at the time point you want to use it, they are gone. So I can learn you a trick how you can send more than 800 free in-mails to open profiles without using any credits. And on top of that, I will share all the playbooks, all the strategies, a breakdown of the strategies we talked today.
For what period of time can you send 800?
It's per calendar month.
Per what?
Per calendar month.
Calendar month.
Yeah, calendar month, sorry. If you're familiar on LinkedIn, you see there on top of my profile that I have kind of a golden icon. And that golden icon, that means that your profile has a status open. And if the profile has the status open, it means that you're able to send a free email without using any kind of credits LinkedIn is requesting. Of course, it's undoable to walk through all these profiles one by one because it's costing a lot of time. So what we can do is, if you retrieve and search, it doesn't matter if it's a post-engagement search, as I just explained, if it's a Sales Navigator search or an event search, you can pull over all these people into Expandy, and within a split second you can set a filter, and we can see and provide you with information if it's an open profile, and then you can start a campaign only to people with an open profile. So it's actually kind of an in-mail with a subject line and some messaging you can use in there. Like here. Instead of only using content, it really helps to use personalized GIF animations. And in an example here, you see a colleague of mine, Amy, who is leveraging GIF animations. And if we send it to 1, 10, 50, or 100 people, at each and every time we'll personalize the GIF animation based on the personalizations we put in. So it can be a first name, a company name, it can be an image, but it also can be the profile image as you see right there. You will actually receive super cool reactions from a lot of people, as it's different in terms of what they receive on average each and every day. From all the, at least 100 times I experimented for different purposes with leveraging this, it each and every time uplift engagement up to 50, sometimes up to 70% in comparing to maybe on average a 25-30% if you're not using it. So it's definitely worth to consider it, and especially if you're not done it yet, it's quite an interesting approach to break through the noise on LinkedIn. And here you see some statistics and examples from campaigns we executed on with our own team. You can use it, for example, these are just some random examples. I can provide you with more if you want. After the connection request, not to push, not to send a link. On the left side you see our colleague Amy, and it's just, they call it an icebreaker image, where you just actually thank people for the connection if you want to use it for that purpose. In the middle you're seeing call to action from our colleague Sharon. It's also with the dynamic content, and it will really help to get kind of a positive reply from people, kind of a different vibe. And if you want to send or use it as a reminder, for example, if you invite people for your webinar, as you see on the right side from our colleague Ivan, then you can also use it, and you can personalize it, in this case, with a first name. And no matter if you send it to 1, 10, 50, or even 1,000 people, it will each and every time use the right personalizations to execute on that. For the ones who are familiar with Sales Navigator, you have a filter in Sales Navigator that you can select people based on changing job roles. For example, in the last 90 days. How cool would it be if you can send them a connection request or a congrats or a kudos with a bottle of champagne based, yeah, sorry.
So your software is putting the name into the video and the picture?
Correct. We do that in combination with Hyperize. It's a personalization toolkit which you can also leverage outside of LinkedIn for personalized landing pages, for email outreach, and in our case also for LinkedIn outreach. You can also use it, for example, as inbound. Let's say I think we all use Calendly or sort of a similar tool, but if people book in an appointment, you can just add an extra step or actually ask an additional question that they need to fill in before they confirm or submit their LinkedIn profile. If they fill in their LinkedIn profile, we can pull over by a reverse webhook automatically in connection request and push such kind of a cool GIF animation out there. You can use it if you do a post on LinkedIn. I did myself. A lot of posts where I ask people to leave a comment, and in return I will provide them with a guide. And this is an example of how you can send them such kind of a guide after they leave a comment, and it's fully automated. For the ones who are leveraging LinkedIn for recruitment, I think we all see that the kind of outdated approaches. I saw your profile, it's super, super cool. I really want you to engage with me. It's not working perfectly fine anymore. I experimented a lot with most wanted posters. So let's say I pull over a most wanted poster and I put in there, I'm on the lookout for a new rockstar aka, let's say your first name. You really get such cool replies from people as they never received it before. So if you want to leverage LinkedIn for recruitment, it could be a really interesting idea to do it that way. I have playbooks about how you can do that, and you can find them on our Expandi blog as well. And we talked about these kind of strategies, so how you scrape people by leveraging content creators. We talked about open in-mails and how you can find these people and what place you can use for that. We talked about scraping LinkedIn events, so actually every event possible and visible on LinkedIn. And we also talked about LinkedIn polls and hyper-personalization using personalized images and GIF animations. For the ones who became quite enthusiastic after I shared all these things, I have good news. You can scan this QR code. You can leave your email. I will not spam you, I promise. And then you can access all these guides. So it's a breakdown of all these 5 strategies with the house, with the whys, with the place, and all the messaging you can use to leverage it yourself. This is what I want to share today. Give me some love if you liked it. And I wish you all a great evening with some beers as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stefan.